Look, y'all, being a fan means you support them even when they lose. All right. So I was telling the preacher yesterday, uh, when I was a fan, when this guy played, there was no bandwagon for Kansas City. So now, perhaps we'll move on to the offseason and what's right around the corner. Baseball. All right. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, and we are expecting some snow in here this evening, or I'm sorry, tomorrow morning. So they've already canceled school. But we'll still be streaming, probably. And tonight, we're going to continue on with Ecclesiastes. I'm your host, Stuart Davis, flawed man of God, humble humble parishioner, humble servant, or serf. Humble servant. Is it Monday? Golly. Humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 42 years, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the world, trying to get it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Other times I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're watching this show, if you're listening to my voice, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we are talking about. So, if you're somebody who's new to Christianity, you're ready to believe, you want to take that next step, you know there's something missing in your life and you're very sure that it's Jesus, but you've got doubts holding you back. You're anxious, nervous, worried about putting your trust in something that you can't, let's call it not overt, right? Jesus isn't appearing before you and saying, hey, I'm real. And so you're having to put your faith into him. And you're worried about being wrong, being people thinking that you are stupid or hateful, judgmental, a bunch of things because of what you believe or what Christians believe. You're worried about somebody taking advantage of your trust. It's a big deal. I understand. And it's not easy. Not easy to do. Or it doesn't seem like it. But if I can offer you encouragement, if you get nothing from this stream, it is the encouragement that I want to give to you that I'm rooting for you and praying for you that you will accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, be baptized and become a Christian. And it's not just me who feels that way. The people listening to this show feel that way as well. All of Christendom feels that way. We want you to get in. We want you to be saved. We want redemption for you. You specifically. Might not know your name, might not even really know you exist, but we know, or your specific existence, but we know that there are folks out there who feel like you. And we maybe have felt like you at some point before. And we want you to make it. We want everybody to make it. We know that's not going to happen. But every soul accepting Christ is a battle won, is a victory. And thus, all of the heavenly host is likely rooting for you as well. That's a lot of support. And you might feel alone. And it's difficult. So that final decision can be lonely. You can feel that way, but you're not. Rest assured, we're here for you. So take that next step and understand we're behind you on this. It's not easy. It's not an easy road. But it's the road you should take. And if you need to move off, and if you don't have time to watch this stream and you just came across here to get some words of encouragement, then great. But I'd ask you to stick around or come back, hang out with us, maybe get some insight on what it's like. Hang out with a group of Christians just talking about faith, scripture, that kind of stuff. So there you go. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's all about small groups. It's a small group kind of place. We got a small group that tunes in. A great group of folks in the chat tune in day in or night in and night out. We want you to be part of this, right? New to Christianity, been with us for a while, doesn't matter. We run this, I should say, it's not just me in charge here. It's you guys in the chat. I just put it up here, schedule it, make it happen. I speak because I got the mic, but you guys got the chat box. And we are small enough that if you put something in that comment box and send it my way, I will read it and respond to it. So tell me, what do you agree with or disagree with? Where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? What unique perspective, insight, or experience do you have that perhaps we haven't discussed yet? Or maybe you want to add on to something somebody else said. Share your opinion. Ask questions. I'm not saying I'm going to have the answer to them, but we can at least talk about it. Talk about your question, maybe point you in the right direction for an answer, or maybe one of these fine folks in the chat will help you out. And with that said, woo-wee, it's the morning after. It was not pretty. I did not enjoy that. But look, I can be gracious. We have won quite a few Super Bowls in the last few years. 3 Super Bowls, right? I was hoping to do 3 in a row. But look, just getting the opportunity to play for a repeat, as they were calling it, is, further than anybody else had gone. But it was ugly. Offensive line looked like they were still on Bourbon Street and had gotten some stand-ins to actually hike the ball and protect Mahomes. It was not a good day for Chiefs receivers, namely Travis Kelce. And if I can do my PPP impression, he's old. He sucks. He's scared. He looked scared. He looked scared. He looked more scared than Mahomes did. Like Mahomes, those were 3 drops, 3 drops on critical third downs. Offense could not stay on the field. 1 first down in the first half, and one first down, I think, in the third quarter almost. I think it was, the third quarter. I think it was one more first down. Defense, it's hard to fault them. It's a tough offense to stop. They slowed them down. They stayed on the field. Here's the thing, and they don't talk about it enough in football, but it's a truism. The longer that defense stays on, the more they're going to get gassed. They get tired quickly, and then it is very tough to stop at that point. And that's when the runs get longer. The blitzing is harder, is not as difficult to pick up. But I figured if they could hold down Saquon, they would win the game. I didn't even think that the offense couldn't get anything going. So it was embarrassing. Hopefully they address the O-line in the offseason. Maybe get some linebacker depth. But hey, been there. So I was talking to my household that consisted of Eagles fans, Chiefs fans, a Packers fan, and a Lions fan. We'll be back. We'll be back. And Kelsey should retire. And this is part of me wants us to draft Tyler Warren to replace Kelsey because I think he can. But that would need to be, we would probably need to trade up to get to him. And that would also mean not drafting an offensive lineman in the first round, which we probably need to do big time. And that, my friends, is that on my opening commentary on last night. Today has been a whirlwind. Started off, got some bad news over the phone. Hour later, turns out bad news wasn't what we thought it was. So good, excellent. So things got better, and then it was busy because it's Monday, and that's what happens. And now everybody's freaking out because the weather's coming in. But that demand showed up just on time. Yesterday was a proof that there is a God. I mean, look, so Mahomes is wearing, one of those rubber armbands, and it said Psalm something. Hang on. And we just got out of Psalms. Well, we didn't just get out of Psalms. We've been in Proverbs for a while. But hang on. Let me Psalm 121 on it. And new evangelicals who are he's not a good guy. I think he's an atheist posing as a Christian. I don't know his heart, but I know that what he worships is not the same Jesus as we understand. Anyway, so he had this on there, and he was talking about how, it's so just upset that a sports player or athlete would wear his faith on his wrist. But it's good to see athletes not afraid to show their faith and doing it more outwardly now. Now we need to make sure that they live that life. And people might have issues with Mahomes as far as like they think he's overrated or they think he's kind of goofy or whatever. I don't know. But the man is still married to his high school sweetheart. Now, people have opinions on her, but again, he doesn't go out and get in trouble. He doesn't you don't really see him act up in ways that would misrepresent him if he said, "I'm a Christian." And they were like, "Really?" We like seeing that stuff. We like seeing that stuff from him, from CJ Stroud, from Brock Purdy, from Riley Leonard, from I'm trying to remember the Ohio State's quarterback. We like seeing that from them and other athletes who aren't afraid to talk about their faith and how much it means to them. So Seethe, everybody. Too big to rig? Yeah, definitely weren't. I was talking to my buddy, my good friend, best friend, sitting over there. Uh, and I always struggle with the last name Benaric, or whatever. It's Chuck Bernard. I can't say the name. Anyway, he's in that jersey. Me sitting in the Derek Thomas jersey, and I'm like, oh, refs. The refs rigged the game. Yeah. Teasing him. Veritex is here. Rough day. Rough day. Wife and I took PTO to try and get trash out of the house. Dumpster company failed to deliver. I had that happen when we were trying to move out of the house that we ended up not getting, and we got this house instead. The moving company did not show up the day we told the owners that we would be out of the house. Such a panic. And yep, snow and ice tomorrow means we can't go back tomorrow. So sorry about a wasted PTO day. At least you and your wife got to spend some time together. Look on the bright side. Maybe there's a meaning behind it. Dad's still talking about the Super Bowl. It was beautiful. Whatever, Bears fan. Also caused a lot of Bears fans to change their mind about drafting Giante in the first round. But do Bears fans not want him? Or they do want him? I thought y'all have a good running back. Veritech said, no, those weren't stand-ins. Those were the actual starters. The O-line has been a blow-up paper tiger all year. Even for them, though. Yeah. I didn't think Travis Kelce looked scared. I think he looked like an old man saying, I'm getting too old for them stuff. There was a third down play where he actually caught the ball and he wasn't at the first yard line, but he didn't even try. He went straight down before they tackled him. And I'm like, where's the fighting for the extra yards? Retire. His act's gotten old. Jenny ELJ. Hello, everybody. How's it going, Jenny? Glad to have you here. That man said, I think defense stats are bad. You have to figure that one defense plays 20 minutes a game and then another defense plays 40. So the later defense gives up 1.5 yards, but fewer per minute than the former. It's difficult. It's more of an eye test to me for a defense. I don't think yesterday is proof of God. I think it's more likely proof that the NFL officiating was propping up the weak O-line and DL of the Chiefs all year. It has not. Oh, guys, just wrap your heads around the idea that the Chiefs are good at winning games because they're generally a disciplined outfit that, except for this game, has shown over the last 5 years that they are well coached and well prepared. O-line and D-line are more important. You get that O-line squared away. To me, the team starts, your building block starts with the offensive line, and the quarterback. The offensive line that can give even a decent quarterback, not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback, time to throw is good. Is a game changer. An offensive line that can open up holes for running back means that you don't have to hit a home run on an Adrian Peterson or a Saquon Barkley or a Christian McCaffrey. All starts with the O-line, giving them time. Tackles repeatedly not lined up on the line properly. I'm just saying. Do they get it done when they needed to? And last night, obviously, they didn't. But throughout the season, they did. And they made plays. Philly, though, they were on a hot streak this year. It's hard not to like a lot of the players on the Eagles team. I do not like their coach. I think he's trashy. And it's not exactly the most reputable fan base. I have friends in Philly who I love, and they're all classy individuals. But, and that but coming after there is, I mean, you look at the aftermath, how what they do to their own city when they win or lose versus if Kansas City, everybody's just gonna be high-fiving and going home, eating some barbecue. Veritech said ESPN more and more feels like the fool that Proverbs warned us about. Where have you been the last 15 years? Couldn't just let the Eagles enjoy this for a day. Had to be, race baiter. I haven't watched it. I don't watch ESPN unless I'm watching a game. Do not watch ESPN. Yeah, stupid. All right. Now that we're all through that, let's get into Ecclesiastes. Sorry, guys. Last week got busy. Got a little tired. It was just I just needed some time to relax. But I am excited that we started Ecclesiastes. First chapter went pretty well, and I mean, it kind of puts you in your place. Ecclesiastes is one of those books that really kind of humbles you and lets you know, hey, there are things to worry about and things you shouldn't worry about, and there is way more that you shouldn't worry about, that you shouldn't care about, because our time on earth is temporary and we put too much stock on the things of this earth. And we're going to get into that some more today. And, normally when you think of worldliness, people think of tangible things, possessions, money, that kind of stuff. But there's more to worldly possessions than just that. So let's get into chapter 2, and we'll go through chapter 2. We'll probably stop there. I'm still kind of getting a feel out, and we're not. Ecclesiastes is not even going to be long enough for us to really worry about how many chapters we're doing tonight. It's 12 chapters. So we'll do that. Where we'll really need to look at this is when we get to Isaiah. How many chapters we're doing tonight? But I think that's going to be another. We'll see. We'll try to, like we used to, and see where we go from there. But we'll do Ecclesiastes 2 tonight. Let's get into it. Ecclesiastes 2, Amplified Bible translation. The futility of pleasure and possessions. I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure and gratification. So enjoy yourself and have a good time. But behold, this too was vanity, futility, meaninglessness. I said of laughter, it is madness, and of pleasure, what does it accomplish? I explored with my mind how to gratify myself with wine, while, at the same time, having my mind remain steady and guide me wisely in how to take control of foolishness, until I could see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their lives. I made great works. I built houses for myself. I planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and orchards for myself, and I planted in them all kinds of fruit trees. I made pools of water for myself, from which to water the forest and make the trees bud. I bought male and female slaves and had slaves born in my house. I also possessed herds and flocks larger than any who had preceded me in Jerusalem. Also, I collected for myself silver and gold and the treasure of kings and provinces. I provided for myself male singers and female singers and the delights and pleasures of men, many concubines. We know Solomon. Sorry. We'll get back to that. So I became great and excelled more than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also remained with me. Whatever my eyes looked at with desire, I did not refuse them. I did not withhold from my heart any pleasure, for my heart was pleased because of all my labor, and this was my reward for all my labor. Then I considered all which my hands had done and labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and chasing after the wind, and there was no profit, nothing of lasting value under the sun. All right. So we've got more after that, but this is the first section, so we'll get to this right now. All right, so let's enter hedonism. And I'm not talking about some weird beach trip. All right. I'm talking about just pleasures of the flesh and desires. And he says to himself, this is a challenge to himself. I'm going to do what I want to do. I deserve it. I'm King Solomon. I'm wise. Look at all that I've done. Look at all of my efforts. I deserve this. How does this work out for you, Solomon? But he said, I explored with my mind how to gratify myself with wine. So drinking, give it in to the consumption, while at the same time having my mind remain steady and guide me wisely, and how to take control of foolishness. So I tried to be drunk and lucid at the same time. I made for myself great works, built houses, planted vineyards, planted orchards, pools of water, bought slaves. This part's a little taboo, but again, there's rules for that. Had slaves born into my house. Had many herds and flocks, larger than any who preceded me in Jerusalem. I'm the best. I became the best, the greatest. I collected for myself silver and gold. I'm rich. I'm rich. I even brought a band, male and female singers. I got a chorus. And there he goes. Many concubines. And we got some footnotes here. Footnote says Solomon's reign began under most promising conditions. Thank you, David. But soon his own wisdom alone was guiding him. He openly affronted God by taking many wives, including pagan women. But we remember when we went over Kings, that did him in big time. Especially the fact that those women were pagan. He did not convert them over, bring them over, or avoid them entirely, and thus became ensnared by their ways and traditions. They seduced him into tolerating and later practicing idolatry. Then there it is, 1 Kings 11:1. We can go back there and look at it just because it's been a while since we were there. Now King Solomon defiantly loved many foreign women along with the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, and Hittite women. From the very nations of whom the Lord said to the Israelites, you shall not associate with them, nor shall they associate with you, for the result that will be that they will turn away your hearts to follow their God. Yet Solomon clung to these in love. He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned his heart away from God. For when Solomon was old, his wives turned his heart away after other gods, and his heart was not completely devoted to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. For Solomon went to Ashtoreth, the fertility goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the horror, detestable idol of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil things in the sight of the Lord and did not follow the Lord fully as his father David had done. Solomon built a high place for worshiping Chemosh, the horror, detestable idol of Moab, on the hill which is east of Jerusalem, and Molech, the horrible, detestable idol of the sons of Ammon. And he did the same for all of his foreign wives who burned incense and sacrifice to their gods. And just starting in 9, obviously. So the Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart was turned away from the Lord and the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice and told him explicitly not to do the thing that he's doing. You want to know why it's all vanity in Ecclesiastes? Because this is a man who understands. I was given this gift to God, but if I cut God out of this, what do I have? Nothing. Evil, degeneracy, all this stuff. But it's all temporary. It might live longer, it might outlive me, but it's coming down eventually. I thought I was enough with the gifts that I've been given. Except for understanding, those gifts were supposed to be used in tandem with faith and obedience. And it's amazing how many smart people there are out there who think that they know better, who think that they can talk their way around being the person they have to be. And they take advantage of the gifts that God has given us. And spit on that sacrifice. Now, mind you, we all take advantage of that. It is a gift. But I think there's a difference between slipping, falling, and making mistakes and trying to be better and just saying, it's okay. I can do what I want. God's going to get me. God's got my back. It's not how it works. When they cry out, Lord, Lord, he's not going to know them because they didn't make any effort to know him. Don't be that. Don't be that person. We got a lot of bright people in the chat, and I'm sure folks watching, there's a lot of smart yous out there. You're not smarter than God. You're not smarter than the principles he's established, the truths of the world. And the rules that he's made. Think you found a loophole? You didn't. You're not more clever than he is. And I think when you really think about it, you know you're not really being all that clever at all. B, I always talk about in Genesis, whatever. That was that footnote, the many concubines. So, again, he's done all these things. And he's dabbled in all these pleasures. So he goes, I became great and excelled more than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also remained with me. Whatever my eyes looked at with desire, did not refuse them. Whatever I wanted, I took it. Whatever I wanted to do, I did it. Whoever, I married them. That's what it seemed. I mean, if we're talking about 700 plus, amazing. And then I considered all which my hands had done and labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and chasing after the wind, and there was no profit, nothing of lasting value under the sun. It was all for nothing. Because what was all that I did? What was my money? Materialistic. What were all these wives and concubines? Means for pleasure, physical pleasure. Even the music. It's all it's all of the world. It's all things. The vineyards, the wine, the drunkenness, the wisdom. That said, how did he choose which? How did he choose the ladies? Lottery? I don't know. Maybe he had a government minister overseeing it. Just, pick a lineup up each night, whatever. All right, second section. Wisdom excels folly. So I turn to consider secular wisdom, madness and folly. For what will the man do to succeed? I'm sorry, hold on. For what will the man do who succeeds the king? Nothing except that, nothing except what has already been done. Let me start over. So I turn to consider secular wisdom, madness and folly. For what will the man do who succeeds the king? Nothing except what has already been done. Then I saw that even secular wisdom that brings sorrow is better than the pleasures of folly and self-indulgence, as light excels darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And yet I know that in the end, one fate happens to them both. Then I said to myself, as it happens to the fool, so death will also happen to me. What use is it then for me to be extremely wise? Then I said to my heart, this too is vanity, meaninglessness, or meaningless. For there is no more lasting remembrance of the wise man than of the fool, since in the days to come all will be long forgotten. And how does the wise man die? Even as the fool. So I hated life, for the work which had been done under the sun caused me only great sorrow, because all is futility in chasing the wind. A little depressing, right? Don't think about it that way. Think about the equation here. This is Solomon talking about what happens when you subtract God out of your life. So he starts it off. I turn to consider secular wisdom. And he saw and he goes, well, being smart, being wise in some regards, in a way that is not um, in line with what God tells us, or you don't ascribe it to God, and you don't believe in God, you don't pray to God. That's better than just being an idiot, just being a fool out there doing whatever, doing foolish things. But in the end, what are you left with? It's only this brief temporary time here. You have the advantage of being wise, but without God, in the end of the day, you're still dead. It's still meaningless. And that's what he said. It's still meaningless because whether you were smart or dumb, if you don't believe in God, if you don't have faith in God, what does it matter? You're still bound for hell. How's that going to work? Does that mean that it's better to be smart than stupid? In the end, might as well not have even happened. All right. We're on to verse 18. The futility of labor. Oh, wait, hold on. Thad said dose. Department of Sexual Efficiency. Stop. All right. The futility of labor. So I hated all the fruit, the grain of my labor for which I had labored under the sun, because I must leave it to the man who will succeed me. And who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool? Yet he will have control over all the fruit of my labor, for which I have labored by acting wisely under the sun. This too is vanity, futility, self conceit. So I turned aside and let my heart despair over all the fruit of my labor, for which I had labored under the sun. For there is a man who has labored with wisdom and knowledge and skill, yet gives his legacy to one who has not labored for it. This too is vanity and a great evil. For what does a man get from all of his labor and from the striving and sorrow of his heart with which he labors under the sun? For all his days, his spirit is, for all the days, his work is painful and sorrowful. Even at night, his mind does not rest. This too is vanity, worthless. There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and assure himself that there is good in his labor. Even this I have seen is from the hand of God. For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? For the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy. But to the sinner, he gives the work of gathering and collecting so that he may give to one who pleases God. This too is vanity and chasing after the wind. All your work, all my work, all the things that we have done. Study hard, doing good on tests, getting a job, putting the work in, buying a house or whatever, renting or whatever, building a place to live, building a family. There are many materialistic aspects of that which are worthless. And you build up what? A legacy for your kids. And you give it to them, but you don't know how they're going to treat it. You worry about that. What kind of kids are what kind of people are your kids going to be? What about their kids? What kind of people are your grandkids going to be, or your great grandkids? It's sad to think about. And, I know this is a difficult subject for Veritax, but your kids or your grandkids, you think you do the odds, right? Your kids, your grandkids. What are the odds one of them's not going to believe? It's going to fall away. It's going to give in to the world and leave God behind. Some of you guys or gals may have experienced this already. Others, you just are scared of it. I'm scared of it. It's a terrifying prospect to think because know these people from the moment they're born. You see them in with their childlike uh, view of the world, figuring things out. You see the innocence of them. You see the beauty. You see the understanding uh, why Jesus invited the little kids. You help them through bad times. You celebrate good times with them. You go through life with them. You pray and you hope and you do your best to guide them. The prospect of one not being with you, not not picking up that banner of faith is a nightmare. It's a terrible thing to think about. We know. I say it at the beginning of the show that we want everybody to go, but we're not all gonna. Many fall away. Many will never even accept to begin with. Just do your best and set them up for success. Help them understand what is important and what is vanity, what is meaningless. We still have to go through the day. We still have to provide for each other. We still have to do this stuff. But if we go back and go, oh, look at all the great things I did, who cares? Who really cares? Do they care about your bank account? I'm sorry, I'm sounding a little fight club right now. They care about your bank account. Do they care about the clothes you wear? Do they care about the vineyards you planted? Do they care about the wonders you've built? Or they care about how you served in the faith, the example that you tried to be, how you prayed, how you humbled yourself before the Lord, how you helped teach them, how you picked them up. What do you think they really care about? I said, there's nothing better than a man to eat and drink and assure himself that there is good in his labor. Even this I have seen is from the hand of God. For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? I have you can eat and drink and enjoy that there was good in your labor because God gave you the ability to do it. God gave you the opportunity to do it. God got you through it. With the strength he gave you and the desire to get it done. put you in the situation that you're in. And if you take God out of that whole equation, then what does it matter? What does any of it matter? And the answer is it doesn't. And that's always been, like I said, my struggle with my biggest fear is that, my faith is misplaced, and there isn't anything. We're all wrong, and there's nothing after death. And if that's the case, then none of this means anything, because it's all very, very fleeting, very um, insignificant. And while that sounds incredibly depressing, trust me, I know, bothers me to no end. But while it sounds depressing, what it should do is give you hope and give you joy and thankfulness that God does exist, and that these things that we go through life doing, while materialistic and while relatively insignificant, do have meaning, because God is there guiding us. God is there helping us make it happen. There is a purpose to all these things. You got money? Great. Money's not going to get you into heaven, but maybe you do something with it that you're supposed to, that does help you honor God. You got vineyards? Do you got houses? Do you got slaves? How do you treat your slaves? Are you cruel and beat them, mistreat them against what God has told us? Or do you treat them with respect and treat them like human beings created by God? Do you remember that they're your fellow man? Do you try to lead them in the faith? And do you release them when the time comes, if they want to be released? Do you look after your brothers and sisters, the orphans, the widow? Do you use these things you have to be there for them, to be there for them? Because what does God want us to do? Love God and love people. That means teaching them. That means treating them with respect. Means a lot of things. And when you look at the commandments from God, they really only revolve around two things: honoring God and existing with your brothers and sisters that God created as well. And there you have it. Almost an hour. That's not bad. Are y'all liking Ecclesiastes so far? I like it. Like I said, it comes off very depressing, and it is very humbling. But the underlying piece here is that the reason why all this stuff is nothing without is because without God, who cares? But we do have God, and he does exist, and he is looking out for us, and he is blessing us. And while some of it, much of this we'll leave behind, we're leaving it behind to go someplace better, hopefully, going someplace better in heaven. I am preparing a place for you, is what he says. Actually, not depressed or factual, not depressing. Yeah, yes. And there you have it. All right. So to Thad, Veritax, Jenny, and I think that's it in the chat tonight. Thank you. And I know I got more because Thad was talking and I showed. So YouTube's viewer count's so weird. Thad is sitting there talking to me and the count says 0. Now there's 4 people on the count. Who knows how many there actually is? But to you guys in the chat, Jenny, Veritax, Thad, thank you. Thank you for being here, talking. Even if it's talk smack about the Chiefs. Know how glad you are that they lost. It's all right. It's all right. I'm okay. Glad you guys showed up. Shared your thoughts. Just stopped in to say hi. For everybody who is catching this or is watching but not commenting, I encourage you to be in the chat. I want to hear from you, but I understand you might not want to or might not be able to. I'm just glad you've got a place that you continue to come back to, that you feel is worth that. And to everybody catching this on replay, thank you for watching. Sorry I missed you. Hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody have a good night, and God bless.